Hold on. Should I like some Palo Santo first? I'm having fun. I'm all crying. Q&A. What helped you get through your divorce? Okay, we're just gonna kick it off. I was preparing myself for that. I don't know why I'm so nervous. I haven't done a Q&A in a long time. I have some questions from Instagram. Because this is YouTube, I'm gonna start with the YouTube questions. What helped you get through your divorce? Okay, we're just gonna kick it off. I think time, honestly. Time, because it's been 3 years now. There is a commitment that has been broken. So I feel like I really had to allow grievance. And it's funny because I do also feel like before that even happened, before I got divorced, it was almost like I was preparing myself. It's almost like I knew, but I didn't know, but I knew. You know what I'm saying? It's very, I can't really explain it. That's the best way I can put it, honestly, is that I was preparing myself for that, which is very interesting, right? In like hindsight, because when you're in it, you feel like your whole world is like flipped upside down, and it's very heartbreaking. So I feel like what helped me is allowing myself to grieve, allowing myself to feel hurt, to feel that pain, because divorce is painful. I think allowing and holding space for myself to grieve. And the thing about grief is that it looks different for everyone. Grief is grief, but there's not a time, right? Like, so I never told myself like, oh, you have 3 months to get over this shit, or you have a year. Like I never did that. Like it's not linear, basically. So I think what helped me is just giving myself grace, allowing myself to restart again, and renewing my faith. I feel like I had a lot of faith in that relationship, and when something like that is broken, it's like screw faith. So I think the beautiful thing for me is like it taught me to strengthen my faith. Another thing that helped me is like I refuse to be jaded because I have a lot of love to give. I'm full of love. It's easy for me to get love. Like I didn't want to become jaded. So I think that happens with doing the work. Like you have to do the work, and it doesn't happen overnight. It really doesn't. It takes time, and there's a process. So I think trusting the process has been huge for me. So this question actually has some replies. Yes to this question: how did you get through your divorces? I've only been divorced once. What factors led up to each divorce? I've only been divorced once. Do you ever want to be married again? Factors that led up to divorce, I really don't feel comfortable like putting out on the internet, as much as I want to, because I love being vulnerable. I love like sharing my journey and all of that. But there are certain things that even people that put all their business out there, believe it or not, there are things that you don't know. And I just feel like this is one of those things that I don't want to disclose. I don't want to talk about. It's something that I'm still processing, I'm still healing from, even though I have moved on and probably the healthiest relationship that I've ever been in. I still don't want to put that out there. Do I ever want to be married again? I don't know. I do and I don't. It's very like conflictive for me. I'm thinking about it. I don't know. What advice would you tell your younger self? That you're fine the way you are, and that you're way cooler than you think You are. Yeah, to have more grace. Even though sometimes I wish I could be that girl again, I kind of like grieve and mourn my younger self, even though I've made mistakes, right? And I have not made the best decisions. There is a part of me that like really values my younger self because she made me who I am today, and I really respect my younger self because I'm like, bitch, you made it. Like, you made it. We're here. But I think the reason why I feel that way and I can say that today is because I have learned from my mistakes, and I'm human, and I understand that I will probably make some more, maybe not as often. I think the most meaningful lessons have been the most basic lessons. Find a mentor. I think my mentor was Mariah Carey, and that was like a one-sided relationship. Mariah Carey doesn't know who the fuck I am. So it would definitely be to find a mentor, broaden my experience. When I was younger, I really didn't care about learning. I really just cared about being accepted or seen or wanted. And so I would definitely tell myself, my younger self, to keep learning. It's funny because I kind of feel like these are the things that I'm telling myself now. Another thing is speak up. Use your voice. Your opinion matters, but it doesn't. But it does. And kind of going back to mistakes, mistakes are a blessing. And when you're younger and you're experiencing mistakes and you're going through it, you don't see them as a blessing. You see them as like, this sucks. So I think I would just tell myself like, hey, mistakes are okay. It's a blessing and it's part of the journey. Another thing is communication and confidence are your greatest assets. I really wish I would have known that back then. I'm glad I know it now. Because I can, get through the rest of this journey. We're always halfway there, right? Communication and confidence are your greatest assets in this life. And the last thing I would tell my younger self is when someone says something to you that's mean or bullying, it's not about you. It really isn't. Everyone is projecting. And I feel like, especially on YouTube and like social media, because I've been doing it for so long. I've been doing it since I was 21, probably younger than that actually. It started with MySpace, which I was like 17. So it's been a long time. So social media has been a huge part of my life because honestly, it's how I pay my bills. So I do rely on it a lot. So over the years, like the bullying and the mean comments and people just judging my life because I shared so much of my life. I wish I could tell that part of me, like, because I'm still working through this shit, you guys. But I wish I could tell my younger self, like, mean comments or people talking shit about you or being mean to you, it's not about you. It's projection. And also, even if they do say something that's true, don't be so, I love being sensitive, don't get me wrong, but don't be so fragile. Have a backbone. Believe in yourself. Like, who cares what anyone says? Have that confidence and that trust in yourself. Are you still in touch with Anthony? No. Will you be getting any new tattoos soon? Yes, I am. So stay tuned. I've been following you before you had Bianca, curious to know which products you use from way back when and which ones you've chucked. You know what? I love this question and I'm gonna save that for, let me save it, because that's a whole video in itself. I got you. How do you manage to not look at everything in a positive way, even through the bad times? I have to be honest, watching your videos lift me up spiritually, so I'm trying to live life and stay soft. We are creatures of habit. So if you have practiced looking at things negatively, like that's gonna kind of consume you and be the lens that you look through. So I think it's very important to be mindful of what you are practicing. I consider myself to be a pretty positive person. With that said, I definitely have days where I'm feeling down, or I can look through a more negative lens. But I think as long as you have that awareness and you check in with yourself, like, what am I practicing? Am I practicing negative or positive? And it's just like tapping in with yourself. For example, you can step outside. There could be a cold breeze. You could be like, oh, it's cold outside. Or you can be like, oh, I love this weather. Whether it's hot or cold, whatever the conditions are, I think we can always choose to see the beauty. It's not even like the good, but like more so like the beauty in life around us. Like shit is just inevitable. Like you're gonna have bad days. Like bad is gonna happen. Not to get too deep here, but like people die. Like shitty things happen that you can't control or that are out of our control. So I think the more you practice looking at the good, when shitty things happen, you're able to kind of withstand. Can you stand the rain? Sunny days, everybody loves them. Can you stand the rain? Yeah. You know what? I like the rain. Bring it on. Do you regret any of your cosmetic surgeries? I don't. Do you plan on getting any more? I don't know. I really don't. I want to say no. Like my higher self wants to say no. What is one thing you learned during your parenthood journey that you wish you would have known at the start? I relied a lot on having a leader. It was very toxic, and I just wish that I would have relied more on myself, because I'm a leader. I am. And I never believed that until recently. So I just wish that I would have like stepped into that leadership role instead of waiting on someone else to do it. I thought that working from home, you would film more content. Do you feel not motivated? Why is it? You know what? I thought the same too. Like I thought me working from home, I would be able to push out more content. But that has not been the case. I was actually just talking to my boyfriend the other day. I'm like, when I was at Body Central, I made more content then working a 9 to 5 than I do now. And I just thought that was so interesting because I'm here, but I do put a lot of my energy into this job because I do value it. I value it a lot more than my other job. And it's kind of scary to say, but I love this job. And I've never said that about any job ever. And so I probably overthink too much, and but it's something that I'm adjusting to, and I'm like, I care about it so much because I love it, and I do spend a lot of time on that and how I can be the best I can. But I also understand like overthinking sometimes can lead to self-sabotage, and so that's a whole other thing, girl, that I gotta work through. What advice would you give women in their 20s? I want to give advice, but at the same time, when you're in your 20s, it's a time to just like put yourself out there and like live your life. Don't listen. My advice would be to not listen to anyone but yourself. Take advice later on in life. For you, what is the hardest part of being a mom? What is the easiest or most rewarding? The hardest part, I think, is the conflict, because I'm the mom and the dad. Trying to play both roles, it's very heartbreaking at times because I start crying. I just want to be the good cop. That's the role I want to play. And I can't do that. I have to be the good cop and the bad cop in one vessel. So I think that would be the hardest part. One of the most rewarding things about being a mom is the purpose that they give me. It's this sense of purpose that from the time I was 16, which is when I had my first child. And at the time, at 16, I didn't know like what purpose was, especially relating to motherhood. But now that I'm 38 and my youngest is about to be 13, my oldest is about to be 22, you can deliver a baby and yeah, you're a mom physically, but it doesn't happen overnight. You need those struggles and you need that time. So yeah, with that said, being a mom for almost 22 years, watching them grow has been, I'm not going to get emotional. It's been very, very rewarding. And to know like that they still need me a little bit. It's a privilege to get to see the world through your children's eyes. Getting to see the world through their lens just like reminds me on how I can help guide them. And in return, like they're guiding me, even though I know it's not even about me, it's about helping them become who they are. My genuine question is, how do you and your kids feel about you on YouTube? Sometimes in underwear for your job, or what is your job now? How did you get to the point of their age, what age, to talk about it? Have you ever had issues with your kids, friends, parents over it? You and Mariah seem to have a great relationship. How do you keep the bond going as they get older? So this is like a lot of questions. I feel great about being on YouTube. My kids have not always felt great about it. And I know because they have told me, they're like, my friends follow you, or my teacher follows you, or so-and-so follows you. This is why I don't put my kids on YouTube. Like I don't, or Instagram or anywhere. Like I don't share my kids anymore because they don't want me to. And I totally respect that. I will never be one of those moms that like force my kids to be on YouTube. Like I'm not gonna do that. Like fine. If you don't want to do it, like it'll just be the Casey show, the Still Glamorous show, right? But yeah, so that was a thing. And it took me a while to get used to because when they were little, I didn't have that battle. It's crazy because back in the day, I did it because like that was, the intention was I was a stay-at-home mom. I didn't have anything else going on. So like me recording my family, it wasn't even called vlogging back then, but me recording my family, editing, I think it was more so about editing, capturing these moments like a scrapbook, right? And then it turns into something. But for me, it was more about like, I love you guys. I want to capture this moment forever. To, I love editing. To, let me show you guys off. Like I want to show my life. I want to share my life. And then it gets to a point to where people are commenting on your life. People are watching your life. People are judging. And so it got to a point where my kids were like, nope, don't want to do that. When it comes to me posting in like lingerie or talking about adult things, talk to my kids and let them know, like, just trust me. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not out here like on OnlyFans. I will never do it. Ever. Ever. Am I like a positive person? Yes. I'm comfortable in that realm. And I don't ever want to not be me in order to like protect someone because I'm not doing anything wrong. So within that, I'm protecting you by being me, if that makes any sense. But yeah, there has definitely been some like butting heads and me trusting myself so they can trust me without shrinking. Because if I was like, if say my kid, for example, is like, hey, so-and-so said this about and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna do that anymore because so-and-so said it. I am teaching my kid to shrink because someone else said something. And so I have to do it in a way that's like, I am being me. I'm still a mom. I'm still providing and protecting, but I'm still being me and taking up that space and showing, like, leading by example. Kids, they don't learn by our words. They are gonna watch what you do. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, so I feel like taking up that space, and even though it's uncomfortable for everyone, even for me, but it's okay. I don't even want to get into like the politics of it. That's not what this video is about, or this channel, but yeah, there's been some headbutting, but we get through it. We move through it. You still see your former stepkids. I see little Anthony and my son are very, very close. So they spend a lot of time together. That's something that will never change. What is your height and weight? 5'6" maybe. And I weigh 164. So there are actually a lot of questions that I didn't get to, but I don't want this video to be super long, so I'm gonna make a part 2. I really enjoy Q&As, even though it's been so long since I've done one, but it's like a way for me to be reflective outside of my own mind. Thank you guys for watching today's video, and if you asked me a question, thank you. Gets my wheels spinning, kind of takes me out of my box. I feel like social media, there's a part of me that I never want to come back here again, and I want to delete everything and just be like, you know, it's like this love-hate. And then it's like at the same time, no, this is my community. These are my people. Like, I'm just so grateful, like beyond gratitude. It takes a lot. I'm such an introvert, and so it takes a lot. And even though I've been doing this a long time, it takes a lot for me to like be me, because I feel like I've had to protect myself for so long, in real life and on the internet. So give this video a thumbs up. It shows me that you care. There's so many other great questions that I want to answer, and I don't want to answer them quickly. I want to be able to take my time and like unpack things for me and for you. So, all right, I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Bye. I did my makeup just for you guys, just so you know.